Hello and welcome to the midweek energy update with yours truly, Tom Lawrence on Cymatic TV. We've got for you this week the conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn. We've also got for you the solstice. What's been going on with the vibration? It seems to have been all over the place, running up to those the 21st of December. We've also got how the earth is going to be vibrating those chakras, how you should be feeling it, or maybe how you might be feeling it. We'll also be going into seeing the sun and also the polar vortexes, which may give us the indication of the changing of the vibration of the southern hemisphere to the northern hemisphere. So if you're ready, put your seatbelts on and let's get into that vibrations.
Don't believe, just know. Cymatic TV, turning vibration into reality.
So how's it been for the past 5 days since last Friday? How did the conjunction go for you? How did the solstice go? You might have felt those energies really coming on really strong and then just dropping out. I have been talking about this in the energy updates. Go back and have a look through past energy updates. You will understand what we're talking about. We will be going into a conversation, Tanya and myself, about the lines, the energy lines that go around the earth. And you see on my chakra photos, my chakra map of the earth, and what's been happening to these lines over the past 10 days. It's going to be an amazing conversation. Stay with us right to the end. I hope you've got your seatbelts fastened, because we are off for the ride. Okay, so what's been happening in the sun? This is the thing that vibrates and sends out this vibration that helps the earth to vibrate and then in turn helps us to vibrate. So if we look at the sun, we can see what's coming down the line. And the only thing that's been coming down the line is corona holes, that thick, heavy energy, which has been overmasked by that vibrant energy that's been happening over the last 10 days, which you would have felt a little bit more zippy and stuff like that. It might have created a little bit of problems with sleep patterns and stuff like that, which should have calmed down a little bit now. So it should be easier to sleep through. If you are still having problems, maybe that's something we could look at in a session between yourself and me, doing a healing session, and we can look at those aspects during the session. Click on the link below for cymaticlife.com/bookings, and you will see and be able to click there and be able to have a session there. So this sun, as I said earlier on, the corona holes have been quite important. We're actually going through a magnetic storm at this present time on Earth, and that has quietened down the solar flares and the those sunspots that we can see in the southern hemisphere, and we can see a whole new batch coming through. We'll look at that slightly at the end, but let's go forward and just see what's been happening to the earth. So down in the bottom corner there, you can see the magnetic field of the earth, the X-ray flux that has been coming our way, and it has been very quiet. It's bottomed out compared with what we've been seeing just before the solstice, right up for the last month before that, going back into November. And as I said, we will be talking about that with Tanya later on at the end of this energy update. Stay with us, it's going to be a great conversation. The Earth's magnetic field, we can see up at the top. We are currently going through that magnetic storm, so it could be quite heavy energy. If you're feeling zippy, that is great. If it does bottom out, it will bottom out, and you may have moments of oh, I've got this to deal with, I've got this to deal with, I've got this to deal with. It's a good time to deal with it. It's a good time of clearing out the old, really. That's been going on over the last 2 or 3 weeks. It seems like that's back, and that may well be with us for the next 10 days as we see what's happening with the sun as it's coming around the corner, which we'll see in a minute. But let's just have a look at what the vibrations are happening in the chakras of the earth. So back on last Friday, we had the 19th. We had our old friends back, the root, sacrum, solar plexus, but we've also had a little bit ringing on that heart, and that's been coming back over the last week or so. We have had a little bit of a reset that's saying, ready for it? Are you ready for it? The rhythm's going to stop, another rhythm's going to start. And we can see that with the earthquake up in the northern, right up in the top right, and in the bottom left, I think it's left or right, you'll have to look. It's down below South Africa and above Norway. So that's the earth sort of saying, we're coming into a reset. So that was sort of Friday. That reset is sort of more sort of happening. We're coming to the solstice, so we're here on the 19th, so this is the Saturday. The energy is sort of scattering around. The plexus solis has dropped out as the heart chakra is still ringing. And this is good vibrations. This is good new waves, optimisms that's coming through as we're making our way to that conjunction of the 21st. So the solar plexus drops out to give room for the heart. The sacrum is still kicking off, the root, but also the throat. So it has been a good time for communications. Communication should have been a little bit easier, really. Okay? And then the day before the solstice, look at that on the third eye and the throat chakra. The sacrum completely gives way, and the sacrum and the third eye, they act in tandem. They're not connected directly, but they act in tandem. It's all to do with sacred geometry. Another video for another day, that is. But we have the root and the crown chakra equaling each other out, and that's the end of that reset that sort of happened with Hawaii. It was a ongoing rhythm that was all last week, and you could have seen that in the energy update. The day of the solstice, what happened there? Okay, the sacrum completely disappears. The throat and third eye completely disappears. There's nothing on the heart. There's very little on the crown, and we're looking at just solar plexus. So this is a time that's coming up that not only have we got to pass an act, so we've got to start doing stuff. This is what the solstice message and the conjunction message is all about. We should be optimistic, and we should be moving on and passing over and doing things. And this is why it's important to pay attention to the sun, because the sun's vibrations are going to come and hit the earth directly now. Anything that's happening on the sun, we will feel it on the earth. But stay with us for this conversation with Tanya. It's going to be amazing. Okay, so that was the solstice. All about the solar plexus, the coming back, the rebirth of the sun after it dies on the 21st. It is dead. It dies for the 22nd, 23rd today, and 24th, and will be reborn the 25th. Ever heard of that story before? Another video for another day. So, on the 22nd, yesterday, this is what I'm talking about. It's almost as if the earth has gone, time for a restart. The Great Reset. And look at that massive earthquake up in the top there, right up near the North Pole. It's right on the edge of the North Pole. And then there's one that's south of Australia, and this is sort of saying, we are ready. This is it. You know, it's time. The gun's gone off. We're heading down the new vibration that's coming through now. You can see the sacrum is not very active, and nor was the solar plexus. It's been a very quiet day. It was the calm before the storm. And this is the great reset that's happening. We're going to see it rolling out before us over the next week. So just to around about the 27th, as I've been saying for some time now, around about the 27th onwards, that is when you're going to start seeing all these changes starting to filter through. Okay? The 23rd, what a great day! 23rd of December, 1972, probably the greatest day of the universe that day. That's because Chelsea won the European Cup. Wah! Anyway, back to our energy update. If you don't know anything about it, you might well do. Today, we have now moved into the vibration. Surely the vibration of the northern hemisphere is coming back in. And we can see this because the earthquakes are mainly in the northern hemisphere. And this is what we're going to come back to a little bit more. So, for example, Duncan, my friend down in Australia, lovely to see you. I hope it's all going well for you and your father. You should be coming into the vibration of your summer vibrations at the moment down in Australia. It'd be interesting to see how you see and feel those vibrations coming through. It's like that wave crescending and breaking, and it's all that good bubbly vibration should be coming through for the next 3 months, or will it? This is the question. The great reset that is happening, and we're not talking about the World Economic Forum, we're talking about nature, we're talking about the vibrations of the earth. As that starts coming through, it's going to be interesting what's happening to the lines. We are developing an experience at Cymatic TV, and we are looking for dowsers who are in Australia, who are in South America, who are in Moscow or Russia or Siberia. We're looking for dowsers in Africa and also in North America. So Mary and Jim, if you've got your dowsing rods, let's get on it. If you do dowsing, please do send us a message at Cymatic TV. That's info@cymatic.tv or info@cymaticlife.com. You can see the emails down below. You'll be able to see it. Very easy in the description box. Yeah? So here we go. So this is what's coming down the line. This is the big changes that's sort of happening. Yeah? And we will be going into this in much more detail in a minute. Let's just talk a pole shift here slightly. So this video here on the left-hand side is the northern polar vortex on the 19th. There it is on the 20th, and there it is on the 21st. As you can see, there's been an eighth, an infinity sign that's been happening. And as we gradually go on through the time, that infinity sign is being lost, and it is turning it into a circle. So let's see what's been happening at the same time in the southern hemisphere. So this is the southern hemisphere here. We have the same polar vortex going back to the 18th. You can see the South Atlantic anomaly, which is this magnetic anomaly, pulling out that vortex as the energies change from the southern hemisphere to the northern hemisphere. As we go on, that's on the 20th. And look what it's developing. It's developing that 8 sign, that figure of 8. Which is exactly what we were having a week ago before in the hemisphere north, in the northern hemisphere. And we're not getting that anymore. So this is this 8 in the northern hemisphere that you can see. This is real timing. I haven't seen timing like this for a long time. The whole reset is here. It's amazing. Okay? Let's just see what's coming down before we get into this conversation with Tanya about the ley lines. Because she's been dowsing her lines, I've been dowsing my lines. If you haven't seen it on Facebook, go and have a check it out. I do some live stuff and give you extra content down on there on my Facebook page, that Tom Lawler's author, if you look for it on Facebook. But we can see the corona hole coming through. That's just on that limb that we saw in that video earlier on. That's just coming through to face Earth. So that sunspot, that, what is it, 2794, or is it 2704? Can't quite see from here. But it's accompanied by that corona hole. So that yin and yang factor is going on. And let's see who wins out of this yin yang factor. I think with the optimism, and as we're coming into solar cycle 25, those sunspots will really start gaining a little bit of ground. So before we go any further, don't forget, we do this energy update twice a week. If you want to know what's going on in the vibrations, and how it's affecting your chakras and how it's affecting your vibration and the world around you, don't forget to subscribe, click that bell, thumbs up, share it, because if everyone's on the same page, we're going to be able to advance a lot better. The time is now. So, without further ado, let me just bring in Tanya for our in-depth conversation. So, Tanya, it's been a long time since you've done a video, and it's fantastic to have you on here.
In a while. It has been a while.
It has, hasn't it? So we've been observing the lines. You've been doing it on your side since I got back to France, and I've been looking at the lines on my side. And leading up to this solstice and this conjunction event has been quite mad.
Yeah.
You know, I think everybody would benefit from your experience over the last sort of 2 or 3 weeks.
Well, it's really kicked off since the sort of solar cycle 25. I mean, going through the energy update, solar cycle 25 kicked in. We suddenly had sunspots coming through. So I was becoming a little bit more observant. And, you know, 3 or 4 weeks ago, when the larger CME came through, I was curious and I thought I'd go out and have a look, measure the line. Obviously in advance of the solstice. So I was expecting a certain amount, sort of from under tuition from your workshops. And after that solar flare, literally the day afterwards, I was really surprised because the line was much bigger than I was anticipating. So obviously at the autumnal equinox, the line shrinks back down. So that was kind of what I was expecting. And it wasn't. It was much larger than I thought. So that was weird. So that was, 3 or 4 weeks ago. Then I went back out again a week ago, and the line had grown again by about another 5 paces, which again I was not expecting. So
what sort of length, what sort of width are you up to now?
Okay, so normally my line is about between 12 and 15 paces. That's not meters because I've got shorter legs than meters, but it's about, so it's about 15 paces for me. So it's probably about 12 meters. Okay. So after the flare, it was about 18. So it had, from 12 to 18, 15 to 18, obviously I didn't have a precise point, but probably about 5 paces I worked out that it was bigger.
So it's gone up between a half and a third, really.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Give or take.
Yeah. So then I measured again last week, as in a week before the solstice, sort of again just keeping an eye, and it had grown again, and it was up at 23. So that was another 5 paces, which really didn't make any sense whatsoever to me. So then I was very curious, obviously, for the solstice and the Saturn-Jupiter conjunction, everything was kind of happening. Yeah. So then it got to solstice day. Okay, I think I measured before. I did the day before. Right. I actually did a little video on that. I did the day before, and it had increased again by another 2 paces. So I was up to 30 paces on the day before the solstice.
Which is massive for the line that goes through your garden.
Yeah, it's never been that big. Never been that big. So, I mean, unfortunately, my front garden leads onto the main road. So, conveniently, it does kind of stop pretty much at the end of my drive normally. So that was fine. Solstice day happened, and it was just mad. It was completely mad. I went out at the point at 10:02, or just a few minutes before. As it was actually happening, the rods were kind of a little bit all over the place, but it felt quite hectic. The energy felt quite hectic. And I couldn't gauge the line properly within my garden. I started going to different points and I couldn't catch the edge of the line. So I was really, really confused with what was going on.
I remember you phoning me and telling me about it.
Yeah, it just didn't make any sense whatsoever. So I kind of thought, right, well, I'll wait a couple of days. We'll wait for the energies to sort of calm back down, settle down, and go out again. So I went out again today, and I'm walking down my drive, and I keep walking down my drive, and then I got to the road, and unfortunately we've got serious traffic congestion issues. There's a full stream of traffic, but I couldn't actually cross the road, but I couldn't keep going. So I went to the line in the back of my garden and did the dowsing there. And that line, this is fully settled after a couple of days, was twice the size. So I was talking 61 paces along.
Normally at the height of summer, your line is, it is what, 36 or 48 paces? The height?
It's normally around 24. It's normally, it's about 12 and then it doubles to 24. Yeah. So sort of between 24, 26. So this is just...
This is the funny thing. This is why we really started taking note, me and you, over the last sort of 10 days. Because I've noticed it as well on the lines here. They have certainly grown a lot more than they should be. And they shouldn't be growing at this particular time yet. Normally what happens on the solstice, quite literally on the solstice, they double in size. And you can feel it. And I did feel the wave coming through it. But even still, just before, which I did a video on Facebook about, the line was already a lot bigger. And after the solstice, it was even bigger. But it did have that moment when it collapsed back down to nothing. Which you went through. Yeah. Pretty much just after the solstice.
Yeah, on the after the solstice, I went back out later on in the afternoon, and I felt it had shrunk back down to around 24, which I totally didn't understand, and that's when I called you, because I was like, well, what is going on?
You've dowsed it today, you're up to this What did you get onto?
60, 61 in the back. So it's mad.
I've been dowsing now for well over 20 years. And, 30 years almost. Yeah, what am I talking about? 30 years. Every time you gain a year, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
by the way, yeah, I'll just mention it's your birthday today, Tom. Happy birthday, Tom. I'm sure everybody wishes for a very happy.
So hard for that one as well. What's going on?
You walked me into that one.
So I've been dancing for 30 years and I've never noticed this. This is the first time. I have noticed when solar flares have gone off in the direction of the Earth that the vibration of the lines do increase, but by 3 meters or something like that. It's a bit of a...
Energy has been different since the solar flare. I've just felt it myself. It's been a lot more zippy. There's been a lot more energy generally. It's affected my sleep. I've been waking up at really odd hours. You go to bed, you sleep a couple of hours, and then you're wide awake, or you might wake up at 4 a.m. It's been very irregular. No particular reason to that, but I'd say over the last day.
You're not the only one.
Really?
There's been a lot of people out there that there's a lot of buzz that's going around at the moment of what do you feel about the energies, and how's your sleep patterns and stuff like that. And this is why I mentioned it earlier on in the energy news, energy update, is simply because almost on like a daily basis it sort of changes. So you're going to get really good night's sleep one night, and then the following night nothing at all. You wake up at weird times, and then you'll get another one. And that's all got to do with the vibrations and stuff like that,
You've got some video footage, haven't you, of you dowsing the line in Glastonbury? Because we visited Glastonbury in the summer, and that's obviously a major line. Going through the Abbey, we did that. And, I was stunned at the time at the size of that line, because I remember measuring that at 42 paces. And that's like one of the motorway of lines, isn't it? It's a big line.
It's playing at this present time here, and people can see. I like dowsing barefoot, so it's always a good laugh.
Obviously.
And
shoes on.
So I find it the best way to douse. Can't have it dowsing any other way, really. Yeah,
that line is huge, isn't it? That line is very wide.
Yeah, that's one of the main lines that go around the world that you can see on my map. If you go to lawlesstom.com and go onto the gallery, you'll see the chakra map there, which we use for the energy updates. It's that main blue line that crosses over that creates the heart chakra. And so we did a whole thing on the heart chakra. That was an amazing time. And amazing energies. And if they've got any dowsers out there, if you're out there and you're doing a bit of dowsing, what I need to know is just on the width of the line and the sort of sensations it's giving you. Give us a shout, send it through. Thanks for the happy birthdays, by the way, as well, Tor. Cheers, mate. We definitely, that line there was amazing, but it was very crisp, wasn't it?
You wonder how big it is though now. I mean, it would be just so good to know how big that line is currently, because it was, it was 42 in the summer. So, where is it now? And
we've been dowsing now together for sort of like 2 years, going through the workshops and stuff like that. And, the changing of lines over the last month is certainly not what you've been used to.
No.
And, this is this whole thing to do with pole shift, conjunctions, solstice, total eclipse. If you haven't seen the video, go back and watch that video that I did the other day. It tries to sort of tie in quite a few things together. Are you feeling a change in vibration that's going on in the people around you, in the society around you, as it were?
Was that a question to me?
Yeah. Sorry, you can't see. Can you see me?
I can see you. Yeah, I can't.
can't see.
Yeah, it's different. It's gone to a very little picture. Yeah, I mean, as I say, I think people I've spoken to, you know, have definitely felt this sort of more zippy energy that's been coming through. It's almost as if you've just, you know, had a bit too much caffeine, and you know, it's difficult to switch off. So yeah, I think it just agitated, you know, just a little bit more agitated. But that does correlate with the, you know, the increase, just the levels of the flux is a lot higher now. We're running on a much higher base point, aren't we, than we have been for some time. So this solar cycle is definitely having an impact, you know, on the energies. You know, it's difficult. Obviously, we're in the middle of a lockdown here in the south of England. You know, everybody must be feeling this and the frustration even more, because they are, you know, maybe receiving this energy, but they're being stopped from doing anything. So, you know, I would imagine frustration is increasing more and more. And I think this time around, people are, you know, they've really reached a point where they've had enough. And now, you know, Christmas has been cancelled here in the UK.
I think all the celebrations things have been cancelled, but you know, it's going to give us a clean slate for this change. You know, I don't think we'll really sort of see it in society from you know, as I've been saying, from the 27th. That's when it's going to really filter through the system. And this vibration, gone. Sorry.
I mean, the coronal hole energy coming through as well. I mean, that's a different feeling, and that's a more heavier feeling, which I think again people are feeling. That is pulling people down a little bit as well. You know, with all this new coming through the news and being curtailed from our, you know, one time of the year where everybody gets together and socializes, we're feeling it a lot more. You know, if that's compounded with the coronal hole energy, people are, you know, they're going to feel that. It's not necessarily.
Yeah, they are. They're definitely going to feel that. You know, and it's going to create a lot of frustration and stuff like that, I think. But at the same time, there's a lot more good energy coming out, and that change that, you know, everyone's been talking about for, you know, tens and tens of, maybe even hundreds of years. You know what I mean? We are here. We are in this moment. There is definitely either these vibrations are coming through, like you say, the coronal hole, or the sunspots that flare off in our direction. Maybe that's affecting directly those ley lines, those energy lines on the surface of the earth. But it shouldn't be. So then, therefore, that is part of the change. We don't, you know, getting the direct vibration through. You know, if it is to do with that, then that shows that the inversion of the poles are through their first stage, where they're now onto the surface of the earth. And as it goes on, it will gradually go out to this section here, the magnetic field of the earth. Yeah, and that's when the energies will then be inverting through the system. So it takes time. I think certainly over the next year, over this coming year, 2021, we will notice the difference already.
I did do a small meditation during the solstice itself, and kind of noticed, you know, I'd like to know what your view on this is, that there was not a clear rhythm of the chakras, but I felt the solar plexus and the heart were just kind of moving between each other, but not. It was almost strained. It was a not a normal sensation that I felt right when the solstice was happening. I mean, I don't know what you felt with your meditation on when you did that in France.
Yeah, I felt the same thing. You know, it was almost as if like the solar plexus was taking the place of the heart, and the heart was taking the place of the plexus. It was tying between
with each other. They just couldn't. It just wasn't even.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be even more so over the next coming year, as these rhythms come through. It will be at times thinking, why am I feeling like this? I should be feeling like this, you know, and bucking the trend, as it were, you know, between, you know, of what we should be feeling, and what we are actually feeling, you know what I mean? So
did you get any messages through the chakras? Because I know you like to do that, is look at the particular pattern of, did you get a message through from the solstice on
yeah, I did. And it was inverted because the solar plexus kicked off first, and then it was the heart. The only two that really stayed in line, I think, I'll have to check the video, but the only two that stayed in line were the sacrum and the third eye and the throat chakra.
So what would you read? What message do you read coming through from that?
I think personally we'll see a lot less of the sacrum, a lot less of the ego, a lot less of the me, and
so
more
does this
about
the age of Aquarius and more about the collective, community? Is this kind of the introduction to the age of Aquarius? Is this tying in? Is that what you're feeling?
That is exactly. That's the other thing that's been happening as well. There isn't a moment where we go into Aquarius. There is a moment where they're sort of like, we're still the Pisces and Aquarius. They've been mixing, and that's really been happening over the last sort of 50 years. And we're still going to get that mixing going on for another 50 years. But you could almost feel like there's some sort of pivotal point going on here.
And I didn't feel any sacral at all. It was like it was missing almost. I had a little bit of root, but mostly it was just the solar plexus and the heart. But the sacral was very evidently not there. So that is interesting.
For you, it was not there. Well, this could be. This could well be as well. Male and female factor going on. Because the heart was for me was showing up at the end, I think, or showing up lightly. I'd have to go back and check the video, but it is interesting times as regards to the vibration. There's no doubt about it.
Oh, well, I shall definitely be keeping an eye on the lines and seeing what they're doing, because if they're going to start behaving like this, well, you need to keep an eye on them.
Yeah, and we're starting this experience, aren't we? This experiment.
Experiment, yeah. That would be fantastic to do that.
So it's good. It'd be good to get those other dowsers in from the other countries that we mentioned earlier on in the video. And send us a connection. We're going to specify particular places across the world that need to be dowsed, so we're all on the same line. And it's going to
people who want to learn dowsing. This is maybe a good opportunity to. To get involved, get out there. You're going to be doing some online workshops, and obviously
should be coming out in 2021
as well. So our friends in America, which incidentally, I was.
Oh yeah, I got that wrong, didn't I?
We did. Apologies to Raleigh.
Raleigh. I'll explain to you now what happened. I was actually thinking about Gretchen, but thinking about you. So actually, Jim came out, and Jim is obviously Gretchen's husband, or Gretchen's man. So Jim came out rather than Raleigh. I do apologise, but it was supposed to be Mary and Raleigh. So Raleigh, get those dowsing rods out. Let's see them.
Absolutely. Mary has her rods at the ready, so we will look forward to.
We will be over in the States in May or something like that. Movement permitting.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Cold shift permitting as well.
Don't start. That's another video. We haven't got time for that now, Tom.
No. We've already done loads.
Yeah, you've got birthday celebrations to get involved with now. So thank you very much. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Wonderful birthday.
I will do.
Reach your wisdom years now, so we can hear even more useful information coming forward.
Yeah, you're only going to get old man wisdom stuff, on my rocking chair playing my harmonica.
Excellent. I look forward to that. Brilliant. So okay. I hope you enjoyed this, as in our viewers. Get involved, ask some questions. If you've got any questions about dowsing, put them in the comments below. Like this video, share this video, subscribe to this channel to hear all the updates coming forward on the pole shift, which we will be going into more. But these are early warning signs, aren't they? They're indications that things are.
I don't think they're warning. I think they're early signs saying now.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah. More real-time updates, then, shall we say? Yeah.
This is why we do the energy updates twice a week, because it's going to be really important that we know what's going on a very regular basis.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Been absolutely brilliant being with you again, although it's by Zoom. We will see each other very soon, I'm sure, in the flesh, as it were. Yeah, thanks for everybody watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and all that malarkey. That's just leaves us time to sort of say thank you very much, Tanya.
No problem.
And now we've found this new space age sort of.
Well, I thought the aurora borealis was very, very apt as we're in the middle of a geomagnetic storm. I thought it was perfect, and you're just being eclipsed by the Earth.
It's all in sync. It's all in sync. It's all in sync. Okay, so this leaves us time to sort of say ciao for now.